morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a little bit of a look at some really weird news. You see, I've been telling you about those Gengar and Inteleon VMAX decks, which are coming out in Japan. Now, they are actually launching in Japan this Friday, that is, as I record, 2 days away. But of course, the fact that they're 2 days away means that they are actually getting to stores today, and that means that they are being opened and spread around, so to speak. And there is some very, very interesting news coming out from Japan about these decks, and that is what seems to be randomly inserted chase cards. Special art, alternate art, randomly inserted cards into these decks, and that is weird, unexpected, but not entirely without precedent. So what we've got here is a Special Art Gengar VMAX and a Special Art Inteleon VMAX, and they have been doing the rounds over on Japanese auction sites, etc. just this morning, and they are redonkulous. Now, if we start off having a little bit of a look at the Gengar here, we can see we've got Gigantamax Gengar, and his mouth is open, and he's basically pulling all the trees and stuff in. There's a spooky castle in the background. It looks, frankly, absolutely phenomenal. It is a beautiful, beautiful card. Now, the Inteleon, I don't think is quite on the same level here. What we've got is basically Inteleon lying on that platform that Inteleon gets when it Gigantamaxes and doing a bit of sniping, as Inteleon in Gigantamax or VMAX form tends to do. So these are pretty ridiculous, awesome alternate art cards. But it's important to note that neither Inteleon VMAX nor Gengar VMAX actually come in sets. They are cards that, as it stands at the moment over in Japan, are exclusive to these particular decks. The only way to get them is in these decks. So how do we actually go about getting them? Well, at the moment, the odds of pulling these is unconfirmed. What we do know, what we can take a look at, is basically in terms of the price. So the lovely Stephen Kent, he of Playscape Games, an awesome website and YouTube channel you should be checking out. Stephen's an awesome dude. Has gone and been looking on Mercari. It is a Japanese auction site, or maybe not auction site, just a buying site. But anyway, over there, I mean, we can take a look at these two listings for Gengar, for instance, and a 4/4 line of Gengar VMAX is currently being sold for 5,555 yen. Now, that is a 2/2 line there. I believe that is 2 decks worth. You get a 2/2 line in each deck. So a 4/4 line is essentially, 2 decks worth, and 5,555 yen, if we go and put it into currencies. I have some Japanese viewers, but the majority of my viewership is not in Japan. That comes out at somewhere in the region of about exactly £36, or $51.01. So you're basically talking £36 or $50, which is alright. That's about right for a play set of cards that come from essentially 2 decks, and the decks are all sold out, so this is essentially your best place to get them. Well, a single copy of the Gengar VMAX, the alternate art, is currently being sold for 22,222 yen. I am loving the repetition in the numbers we tend to see in these Japanese sale prices. That makes me very happy indeed. And that comes in at around about £144 or $204. Basically, much more expensive. Now, it is somewhere in the region of 4 times the price of a playset. Now, if we're talking about a 2/2 line in each deck, then 4 times the price is essentially 8 decks. That in no way, shape or form actually confirms it is 1 in 8 decks, but that gives you a rough starting point, so to speak. Now, to be fair, you can do slightly better than that. Somebody is selling a playset of 4 for 72,222 yen, whereas if we just quadruple it, it would be 88,888. So it is slightly cheaper if you go and buy a playset there. But let's not be under any illusions here. This is an extremely expensive card. So then we get to the question of, firstly, why would they do this? Why would they do this? Because these decks have already sold out. I showed you the other day that these went online for sale on the Pokemon Center on the same day as EV Heroes went up for sale, and they sold out basically straight away. So it's not like these decks were hurting for sales, it's not like people didn't want them. These are good decks. Again, we've seen that Gengar and Inteleon, both the Vs and the VMAXs, are exclusive to this particular deck. There's the new supporter card, Adventurer's Discovery, which is expected to be a pretty good card and see a bunch of play here and there. That is exclusive to this deck as well. There is the reprint of Crobat V with that new artwork that is exclusive to this deck, or these decks, I should say. Crobat comes in both the decks. These are good, sought-after decks that people absolutely want, and now they're bringing in random chase alternate art cards that are absolutely beautiful. And let's make no mistake about it, right? The Gengar is going to be the more popular of them. I don't think that is even remotely in question at this stage. So, yeah, that is going to be sought after. Now, of course, the real big question that I had, that I'm sure a bunch of people had at this stage, what are the odds? I've already shown you that it is something like 4 times as expensive to buy one of the special art as a playset of the regular. So that would basically tell you 1 in 8. You get 2 regular per deck, and this is basically 4 times the cost of 2 decks, so 1 in 8. Now, that is obviously not in any way, shape, or form scientific, and we are extremely early on here, in terms of it's only been a few hours since these decks started actually being opened in Japan. And even then, we're talking pre-release. They're not out till Friday, so they're not on general release. So even the people that have been opening them have only had a few hours, and there aren't many people opening them. But the best guess I can give you is 1 in 6. I think 1 in 6 is a very fair bet. And that's not a number I've pulled out of nowhere that I can remember, and as always, please let me know in the comment section. But as far as I can remember, there are only 2 times, or there are at least, I should say, 2 times that this has happened before. Now, the oldest example I can give you is the Hyper Metal Chain deck that came out in Japan. Now, this was around in the X and Y era, and it came with Dialga and Aegislash-EX. And in there, you did get 1 Aegislash and 3 Dialga, and according to Bulbapedia, these were 1 in 6 to get the Metal Dialga, the really cool one. Now, we ended up just getting it as a set card in Phantom Forces, and incidentally, that is what is likely to happen to these alternate art Gengar and Inteleon here. No guarantee, of course, but Dialga here just ended up getting into Phantom Forces as a regular card. I would imagine that would be the case here. At some point, we would just get these in a regular set. They could end up being promos, but the special arts don't tend to end up being promos. No guarantee that they won't, but my guess would be they go into a regular set. And they were 1 in 6. But of course, these decks get delivered in cases of 6, so 1 in 6, 1 per case, makes perfect sense. And I don't know how many people remember this, but I did do a video about it at the time. But when the first run of V decks were actually released over in Japan, you could get an all holo deck. Now, we never got these decks. We got the Pokemon Vs from them. They were just popped into Sword and Shield. But when they were released in Japan, you could literally get an entire... It was kind of like opening a God Pack, but not as rare. You could get an entire foil deck. And they were, again, 1 in 6 or 1 per case. Now, I've not been able to confirm that number, but that seems about right. From the searching I've been doing online, that seems about right. So, if the couple times I can remember it happening before were 1 in 6, and the price online super early seems to suggest 1 in 8, then I think it is absolutely fair to come down in the 1 in 6 range. 1 per case. That is far from guaranteed. That is in no way, shape or form official. While we're here, I also have to apologise. I'm doing this as early as I can. So I'm using images that have been taken off Japanese auction and sale sites. They are not the best images we will ever have, but they are the best images we have at the moment. We are essentially doing our best here. So this is weird and cool and honestly a little bit terrifying. Because people are going to really, really want these. These decks were good to begin with. These were good, sought-after decks that everybody wanted. And now you're telling me that there is probably, although again unconfirmed, a 1 in 6 chance that your deck will have 1 copy of the Special Art? Oh my goodness, if these decks weren't popular before, and they are, my goodness, they are going to be popular now. But I want to know what you think about all of this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know if you think having chase cards in pre-constructed decks is a good idea. I want to know what you think about these cards that I have just showed you here. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.